Every time you fill up your tank, you're participating in a global power game. But here's the question. Who's really setting the price you pay for oil? Is it the oil-rich monarchs of the Gulf, pulling levers from golden palaces? The cartel called OPEC, operating behind closed doors? Or is it something far less tangible, an algorithm, a whisper on Wall Street, a rumor halfway around the world? The answer is more complex and more shocking than you think, because this story isn't just about oil, it's about control, power, and the future of the global economy. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why oil prices rise when they would fall, why billion-dollar decisions are made based on rumors, not barrels, and why no one, not even Saudi Arabia, can fully control the oil market anymore. We'll take you inside the halls of OPEC, the deserts of the Gulf, and the trading pits of Wall Street. We'll uncover backroom deals, geopolitical mind games, and the algorithms that now predict your next gas bill. But stay with us, because the real twist, it's what's coming next. A world where oil may no longer rule, and the people who once controlled it are scrambling to survive. Oil isn't just fuel, it's power, politics, and profit. It heats our homes, fuels our transport, and shapes global economies. So when oil prices change, they ripple across the world, from Wall Street to your local gas pump. But behind every price swing, there's a deeper story. Let's look at the three major forces that claim control. OPEC, the Gulf states, the global market. Who's really in charge? The answer might surprise you. To understand oil prices, we need to start with the most iconic player in the energy world, OPEC, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. OPEC wasn't just born, it was built to take control back from American and European oil companies. In 1960, 5 nations, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, and Venezuela, declared enough. No more letting foreign companies set the rules. They created OPEC, a cartel designed to unify their voices and influence prices, and for decades it worked. In the 1970s, OPEC held the world hostage. Embargoes caused gas lines across the US and Europe. Oil prices quadrupled in months. The West panicked. The Middle East gained global clout. By the 1980s, OPEC controlled more than half the world's oil. Today, that number is closer to 1/3. The cartel now includes 13 nations, producing about 30 million barrels per day. But one country towers above the rest in influence: Saudi Arabia. The kingdom is OPEC's largest and most powerful member, pumping around 10 million barrels per day. When Saudi Arabia speaks, the market listens. Its decisions can move global oil prices within hours. So why is OPEC's power fading? Because the world changed. The U.S. shale boom turned America into the top producer, pushing output past both Saudi Arabia and Russia. Flexible shale production can scale up or down in response to prices, something traditional producers can't match. Meanwhile, OPEC's internal fractures widen. Some countries cheat on quotas, others like Venezuela or Libya can't meet targets at all due to civil unrest or economic collapse. And then came OPEC plus a fragile alliance. In 2016, OPEC teamed up with Russia and others to form OPEC+. Together, they control over half of global oil supply. But even this supergroup has cracks. In 2020, a dispute between Saudi Arabia and Russia sent oil prices plunging. Neither side cut production. Global demand collapsed, and oil briefly traded below zero. Since then, OPEC Plus has tried to patch up relations and reassert its control. But deep distrust remains, and coordination is always fragile. So where does that leave us? OPEC, and now OPEC Plus, remains a powerful player. But it's no longer the oil god it once was. Instead, it's one of many forces in a complex global system. It has to constantly navigate internal politics and quota cheating, external pressures from non-OPEC competitors, technological revolutions like fracking, shifting demand patterns from China, India, and the West, and a looming green energy transition that threatens the very foundation of its existence. In this new energy world, OPEC's role is evolving. It's not about domination anymore. It's about survival. Yet even as OPEC tries to steer the ship, their grip is slipping. Why? That takes us beyond the cartel, into the deserts of the Gulf, where oil isn't just exported, it's weaponized. If OPEC is a council, then Saudi Arabia is the king. With the largest spare capacity, the kingdom can add or remove supply faster than anyone else. But this power isn't just economic, it's strategic. In 2014, Saudi Arabia deliberately flooded the market. Why? To bankrupt American shale producers. Oil dropped below $30 a barrel. Dozens of U.S. firms folded. In 2020, the kingdom clashed with Russia. Prices went into free fall. Within weeks, oil dropped to levels unseen in decades. And in the U.S., briefly below zero. This wasn't a glitch, it was warfare, with oil as the weapon. But the Gulf story doesn't stop at Saudi Arabia. The UAE is betting on the future, pumping billions into renewable energy, space tech, and AI. Dubai and Abu Dhabi want to be post-oil powerhouses. Qatar, it walked away from OPEC to focus on liquefied natural gas, and today it leads the global liquefied natural gas race, using gas diplomacy to outmaneuver larger nations. Then there's the money. Gulf sovereign wealth funds, like Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund or Qatar Investment Authority, control over $3 trillion. They buy sports teams, skyscrapers, airports, even political influence. And unlike Western billionaires, Gulf royals face little regulation. They don't lobby power. They are power. But here's the thing. Even with this money, this muscle, and this influence, they still can't control the one force that's more unpredictable than them all. Because next comes the chaos engine, the market. And what the Gulf learned the hard way is this: control doesn't mean certainty, and power doesn't mean predictability. But even the Gulf's immense wealth isn't enough to control what comes next. Because in the next chapter, we meet the one force they can't predict, manipulate, or overpower: the global market. Let's pull back the curtain on the true wild card, the open market. Oil isn't just dug out of the ground anymore. It's traded relentlessly. Every day, more oil is bought and sold on paper than ever actually delivered. Hedge funds, airlines, national banks, they all bet on future oil prices. The result? A market driven by algorithms, emotion, and expectation. A single news alert can move billions. A war rumor, a weather update, a missed production quota, any of these can spark a stampede. And sometimes, it doesn't even take real-world events, just the fear of what might happen. In April 2020, COVID-19 shut the world down. Flights were grounded, demand collapsed, and for the first time in history, oil went negative. Traders were literally paying others to take oil off their hands because there was nowhere left to store it. It wasn't a supply issue, it was a confidence collapse. Today, bots trade faster than humans can think, and markets react to models built on guesses, sentiment, and AI. This isn't about supply and demand anymore. It's about perception and prediction, and that raises a terrifying possibility. What happens when the perception itself becomes unstable? Let's take that question into our final act, which leads to a bigger problem. If the market now controls oil, but the market itself is controlled by chaos, what does that mean for the future? That's what we'll reveal next. OPEC influences, the Gulf dominates, the market reacts, but control? That's slipping, because oil's biggest threat isn't internal, it's external. Electric vehicles, climate policy, renewable disruption. Governments around the world are pledging to move beyond oil, and while the timelines vary, the trend is clear. Oil demand won't vanish overnight, but its role will shrink. And with shrinking demand comes shrinking control. This terrifies producers, and it should, so they're adapting. Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 aims to build entire industries from scratch. The UAE is becoming a hub for innovation and green energy. Even Exxon and BP are placing cautious bets on renewables. But the transition won't be smooth. It will be messy, unstable, full of price swings and power shifts. Because when no one's fully in charge, markets get nervous, supply chains stretch, economies wobble, and guess who feels that first? You, me, all of us. Your gas bill, your flight tickets, your grocery prices. So in this new era, who controls oil prices? Everyone plays a role, but no one holds the reins. And that might be the most dangerous reality of all. The final twist: the more we move away from oil, the more volatile its price may become. Because fewer barrels, tighter supply, and uncertain policies create a fragile balance. One wrong move and the whole system shakes. But this isn't just about today. In the final stretch, we'll ask the question that really matters. What happens after oil? And who's racing to control that future before it's too late? So, who controls oil prices? Everyone and no one. OPEC sets the tone, but it can't enforce discipline. The Gulf states have leverage, but they're racing the clock. Traders and speculators move markets, but they don't create supply. And the world's consumers, us, are both the drivers of demand and the first to feel the pain when prices rise. Oil connects nations, fuels economies, shapes futures, but its grip is loosening. Oil is no longer ruled by kings or cartels. It's ruled by a global feedback loop, spinning faster, louder, and more unpredictable than ever before. The real question now isn't who controls oil, it's who adapts fastest. Those who can forecast faster, diversify deeper, and transition smarter will win. Everyone else? They'll be left behind. You don't need to be an energy analyst or a Wall Street trader to care about oil prices. They affect your grocery bill, your heating costs, your commute, your flights, and your country's inflation rate. Oil connects every nation, every household, every budget. So the next time prices surge at the pump or headlines scream about another oil crisis, remember this: it's not just about barrels. It's about power, about perception, about the future. Because the story of oil isn't ending. It's just entering its most unpredictable chapter yet. If you found this breakdown thought-provoking, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Who do you think really controls oil prices? Until next time, stay curious, stay informed.